All right, so I'm going to give my findings on this live oak, which actually I found out wasn't the tree that was in question, but it's really good to find out things that's going on and find out ways to help it. It's actually two right there, but in here, these two basically have the same situation going on. What I found is the soil is great. It's a sandy loam. It smells really good. Without doing a soil test, it does not seem to be any obvious soil deficiencies, nothing major at least, but you know, that needs to be sent to a lab. The soil is really shallow. We have like maybe 3 inches, sometimes even only 1 or 2 inches, and then it's limestone. A few spots there's about 6 or 9 inches, but most of it is between 3 and 6 inches, and it's on a hill. We've got this slope here. Whenever it rains, the water runs off the hill, runs down here, and runs down the driveway. So the trees aren't getting enough water when it rains because the soil's so shallow. And with Austin, the heat we've had the last few years, like 110 and definitely over 100 for a long time, it's adding up. So for years, the freeze, when a tree's not hydrated, the freezes are even worse. I'm not 100% certain of when the driveway was poured, but it looks like maybe an addition was made. And if that had been done in the last 6 years, that would explain more of the suckers, and I don't know. We can't determine when the driveway was actually poured. So I'm going to recommend minor root collar excavation, certainly adding about 1 inch of compost, and then some mulch, large mulch rings. I have the specifications I'm sharing with them, and then water, regular watering on a timer and using a moisture meter to make sure it just doesn't get too dry, because that's causing issues. I believe it has a lot to do with the suckers too, with the heat. Now here's the one that I was actually supposed to be looking at. I think it's a lantana, but it sure is big. But I mean, everything about it looks like a lantana except it's big. And from what I'm told, it's actually smaller than normal for it. This. So as I look closer, and it's been declining, and the height of it was about 2, possibly 3 times as much, but certainly it was a lot bigger at the very least. We've had freezes, and I think that has a lot to do with it, along with the heat. The direction of north is that way. So when we have these freezes that come in, this is really exposed. So I'm recommending throwing a sheet over it and putting a couple of lamps, not LED, but a lamp that might be warm, just to kind of help a little bit on those fronts that might come in. The other recommendation is to pull the fence back briefly, get the growth out from inside of there, the dead shoots and some of the dead stems, just prune those off, and to cut the grass really low, like scalp it, move the grass away, use it as compost someplace else, and put down a little bit of compost, and then put down cardboard or contractor's paper to keep the grass from popping back up, and put about 2 inches of mulch on top of that, and to come out as far as possible. I'm hoping that maybe 4 or 5 feet out from it will be reasonable. And with that being done, and watching the moisture with the moisture meter, regular waterings to make sure it doesn't get too dry, and putting a sheet over it in the winter with a lamp to just keep the temperatures from going too absurd, which some of the winters we've had have been just obnoxious. So I believe it can pop back, like totally pop back, big time, with a few things done. But one thing that is important is to know the direction of the property, what's north, what's south. It makes a difference, particularly on plants and shrubs that are more susceptible to cold. And if it's extreme and it's on the north side, that can be a problem. Same with being extremely exposed to the south. So those are things to know. Moisture levels, got to use a moisture meter. I've not found a good way. Well, the soil moisture test by feel is my favorite, but you get dirty, a little more time consuming. But with the moisture meter, I'll put a link in there about that. You can use it over and over and over again. I'm sorry, I'm talking fast. I'm trying to cover a lot, and there's way more. But it's hard to cut it back. It's hard to not get into all of it. I mean, how much do you water? We need to get into that. There's ways to do that I've figured are the simplest and most efficient way to figure that out. And I need a video just on that. But this was really meant to be just a general kind of show you a little bit of the general diagnostic process without all of the details. There's way more. Hope you found it interesting. And check the links out for the moisture meter. That's a helpful thing to get. And if you have any questions about any of the things that you see on the any of the diagnostic tools or any of that, just post them. I'd love the questions. I'd love to answer them. If you like the video, click the like button and subscribe. If you want to be notified whenever new videos come out, click the subscribe button and you'll get notified. I look forward to making the next video, and I'll see y'all soon.